To Depths of Soulful Insights. My name's Athena and this is Jess. Today's topic is all about spirits. The video that is presented includes the opinions of the Soulful Insights business owners. They do not represent the opinions of all or others. What information and what you take out of this video is entirely up to you. So today's topic is about spirits. Last week we talked about spirit guides and they're totally different.
They are very different. There's why they hang around and why they're here is what. Yes, I was just checking on the right one. That they hang around to observe and absorb for their soul, and also you can do that bit about. Let me rephrase. No, it's about they hang around to observe, but they also hang around when you're grieving and you're sad and they've just transitioned. They wish to see their family, and they may not actually be there to be a guide, but they are there to help through the transitional process, and it also helps their soul as well doing that. And that's one of the.
And they can also hang around, like for instance, if you go to a garage sale and you buy a lovely piece of furniture that's about 50 years old, 100, whatever. Their energy can be absorbed into that item as well. So if you move that to your house, they come in because you have that item and they love that item, or that holds some memory formed to them.
And it does houses, cars, land.
Yeah, anything at all. Like
anything
does not matter. If you're receptive to hearing them and seeing them and feeling them, or your children, they will be drawn to that. So if you don't sort of see it or hear it or feel it, but one of your children tells you that they heard something last night, or this person talks to them all the time, it's because your child is open, so they're going to be like, oh, someone's talking to me.
Pretty shiny. and they do, because most spirits, we're talking about ones that have transitioned recently, usually have a lot of information left over that they want to share with someone, and especially helping the family through the grieving process, and they see a child that can see them, it's like, hello, you can see me? Like they get really excited, and that's also coming and seeing a psychic or someone who's a little bit more high on the frequency scale and being able to see and smell and hear.
And the thing you have to understand as well is that spirits aren't bad. They're not there to, like, for instance, my yard, my house. When I moved in, I have two spirits. One's attached to the land and the other one just likes my pretty garden. They're just there because they like it. They every now and then I'll see them. Sometimes I don't see them for months and months, and then bang, all of a sudden they come back in. Don't be afraid if you see or hear or whatever. They're not there to scare you. They're presenting themselves because they know that you can see them. So it's not. If you feel uncomfortable, then all you have to do is just say, look, please, this is my space, I need you to leave, and generally they will leave.
You're getting into annoyed and upset spirits. Yes, there is those ones, but 95% of the ones that present themselves to people just on a general experience are actually just there for your soul, their soul, or interaction, attached to something. Like estate jewelry is my personal favourite, because when you're wearing something all the time, or it's near you all the time, your energetic frequency, your genetic DNA even will imprint on that piece of jewelry, or a crystal is another one if you're wearing a crystal all the time. And so,
then going back to the fact that there are 5% of the spirits out there that are angry or aggressive or whatever, some of them are living through a time loop.
yes.
So if you, especially an old building is probably the best way to describe it. If you have an old building and there was a lot of horrible things that happened in that building, the spirits will be going through the same thing that happened to them 500 years ago, for instance.
Can I do that in my house?
Yes.
Okay. So, when I bought my house, The first thing that happened was I walked in and straight away, or even before I bought it, I had a lady stand in the kitchen. She's like, don't buy it, bad things happen here. And I was like, oh, okay, right, and I got a little defensive. But once I actually had a conversation with her, there was certain things that happened in her childhood, which we probably don't need to discuss on Facebook, but that made her, in the house, that made her feel uncomfortable, and she was constantly reliving it. And when she found out I was pregnant, she was absolutely mortified that I was bringing a child into this house. So I had to approach her and explain to her that it's fine. I've got a few arsenals up my sleeve. I can, smudge and help and organise and get her to get out of the time loop, which probably brings us on to not all of them need to go to the light, okay?
If you have people that tell you, for instance, a few weeks ago I was on Facebook on a group page and people were talking about spirits, and this one lady popped up and said all spirits have to go to the light. They're not, if you have somebody there, they should be through the light. They shouldn't be there with you. They should be through the light. So if they're there with you, they're bad. And I was like, no, I've got people in my yard, and they're not bad, and they're quite happy to play and talk and whatever. So
and that's the other thing is yes, there is again about a 5% that if you keep calling them back and keep calling them back and keep calling them back and like I need you, then yeah, you probably stick at keeping them in that spot.
Yes.
However, if they're there and they've been there for ages and they're happy and they're calm, they generally are just enjoying the experience of being a spirit. So don't be like, okay, I've seen you, you must go to the light. It's like, well, they're kind of already in the light, that's the point. That's why they can have a good old play and a bit of fun.
Yes.
So, and when you're actually asking them to force them to see the light, it doesn't sit well. I'm not saying there is some out there, especially the angry ones, where you see them and you explain to them they've been in that same time loop for 50, 60, 100 years and they can't get out of it. It's probably a good time for you to go, okay, you need to walk towards the light. Now going towards the light is just going along a bit further on your journey. Instead of, you need to go up higher, away, and they're not ready for that. You're going to
create this whole
so it's a delicate process. Just understand that if you can just acknowledge them, and if they make you feel uncomfortable, say, thank you very much, you may go, or I am safe and I am protected.
And the thing is, the ones that are there to observe and that are attached to an item or whatever, if you just say you're uncomfortable and you want them to go, they will generally just leave you alone and not present themselves. The angry ones and the ones that are trapped in a time loop or whatever, if you say you want them to go, they're not going to go because they are still stuck in that. So I would personally recommend people like us to come in, and we have a process where we will figure out why they're still stuck in that time loop, because you need to allow them to heal from that and understand that they are able to move away from that pain and that anger and that whatever they're holding on to. And then once they acknowledge that and they can move away from it, then they're able to figure out what their next step is, whether they go to the light or they're in a happier place and they're not going to start breaking things on you or whatever.
Usually, once a lot of clients that I've read for, they'll usually have a deceased family member that has actually had dementia. Okay, dementia is the one that will often get someone stuck in a time loop. Now don't panic if you've had a loved one that's passed and they had dementia. It's not always the case they're going to get stuck, but they will, because they can't figure out. Usually when I'm reading them and finding out how they've just passed away, is they can't figure out how old they are. They can't figure out when they passed, how they passed. They may have felt the pain, but they can't associate it with the end of their life. So that usually gets them a little bit stuck. But if you get a little better at it, or you get asked to come in, we will usually walk them back. So you can walk them back a day, walk them back a month, walk them back a year. And eventually, when they get to that point, and it's a very delicate process. There's different styles and ways to approach it.
Yes.
But yeah,
So if you have any questions in regards to that or comments, post underneath the video. Again, Jess and I have started to do house healing.
We're calling it
house healing. So if you do feel like there is a presence or something in your house that you're not quite sure of, call, send us a message through Facebook. We'll let you know the prices and how much and what we actually do. Because yes, it is best that you don't go pushing them or anything like that, because sometimes that can create more or making them agitated or anything like that. But don't be afraid. So thank you again, and we will see you next week.